We are live.
Cool. What's up, guys? Shawn Bowen, Full Circle Investment Group and wholesalingoutofthebox.com. Again, here with another Lunchtime Live. Today, we're going to be chatting about how to monetize your leads that maybe aren't fitting your wholesale model, right? So you can't make them a cash offer because it's too low. Maybe they owe too much on it, or it just doesn't fit what the seller wants, right? So how can you monetize that lead and make money from it, and or another relationship with a broker or an agent, right? And this is where I talk to a lot of people about this, or I've had a lot of agents approach us and brokers. Hey, what do you do with your dead leads? Well, what we usually say is that there is no such thing as a dead lead, because we'll follow it all the way through the process, right? And when I say that, I mean that we'll follow it all the way through the process, from tax delinquent, code enforcement, eviction, divorce, and probate, right? So funny, but like we'll follow it all the way up till, that person passes away. Because that's the truth. That's the truth of all this, right? So it's either going to sell in its retail form because they owe too much, or they want to get too much because it doesn't work in a cash offer situation, or it works where you can actually go to the retail side of it and work with a broker or an agent. Now, I want to be very specific here. Anybody that's watching this in a replay or watching it live, if you're an agent or a broker, please comment on this. I've talked to a few different ones, but the big thing that I see is agents and brokers telling me they cannot pay a commission because we're not a licensed agent or we're not a licensed brokerage. Completely understand that. What I do understand is that there is a way to be paid. So call that a marketing fee, call it a joint venture fee, whatever you want to call it, so that you stay inside of the guidelines. And if anybody's here, please give me some feedback. Let me know where you're coming from. Jacob's here. He's driving. That's awesome. Anybody else is watching, let me know if you have any statements on this or questions on this. Love to bring you on live. Just go to the link, and when you clicked on here and it says you can join us, and we'll bring you on live while we're talking about this stuff. And guys, remember, we talk to things specifically, but if you want to bring up a topic that we're not talking about today, sure, let's chat about it. I love to do that. We're here for about a half hour to kind of do these lunchtime lives and hopefully catch you at lunch, do a little learning, and just stay in connection with you guys. So again, going back to this, which is just monetizing your leads that maybe you can't do something with because it doesn't fit the model to the cash offer, the owner finance, the subject to. They just want retail, right? And that's fine. It just doesn't work for that number. But do you have a broker or agent on your team that you can work with, get that property listed, and again, recouping your marketing cost in order to pay back your marketing, right? Sometimes you don't get to make money on these things, but at least you can recoup a little bit of your marketing cost. And then again, you build a relationship with an agent or broker to where both of you guys can make money and help the seller. Remember, if you're wholesaling, I think the biggest thing about wholesalers today is a lot of them not doing what they say they're going to do, not following through with what they promised and or told and signed on a signature line to the seller, saying they're going to do what they said they were going to do and just follow through with it, right? That's what this business is. It's helping people. Being a wholesaler and being an investor is just following through and do what you say you're going to do. It's tough, right? But you got to know your numbers ahead of time. I totally disagree with just putting contracts out to lock them up just for the purpose of thinking you can go sell it and then you can't. And then what happened in the background with the seller, the tenant, anybody else involved in that transaction where time, money, energy, effort was all lost because you weren't transparent up front, or you didn't do what you say you could do to follow through with the transaction. So that's another big part of this is how are you helping sellers, right? And then the type of list you're going after, what are their motivations, right? That's a big part of this. So in the stuff that I feel like retail, or also called wholesale, right? Which is, what if you take the property, you contract it up, you put a little bit of money into it, and you actually put it on the market. That's a little bit different than just your typical wholesale transaction. This is where maybe the mortgage stays in place, you're making that payment, And it does work as like a wholesale situation. But total retail numbers are, it is what it is, right? You got to go with what the highest and best use of it is. It's not going to work in the cash offer. So the only way to do that is to go and make a retail sale. Let the agent take care of it. Let the brokerage take care of it, and then help the seller get it done, right? You'd be really surprised at how maybe you don't make a huge monetary value off of that specific transaction, but because you're able to get that person in the right position or seat or place they needed to be to sell the property, something good comes from that. They give you a referral. They give you a recommendation to somebody else. Hey, Shawn, help me with this deal, or Full Circle Investment Group, help me with this deal. And, it was an awesome transaction. They led me to these positions. They brought these people in to help us. And then at the end of this, they were able to get what we wanted, and we were able to do something and work together. That's huge, right? Like the value of having words come out of your mouth in a positive situation from somebody else about you, that's enormous, right? And that, I feel like you can't really put a dollar amount on that, because it's just doing good business in order to get something down the line that will come to you eventually, right? And that, again, goes back to the good karma and just doing good business. So, guys, thanks for joining us today. Just pausing here for a second. Who's here? Who's watching us? Where are you coming in from? Leave some comments. Let us know where you're at. Love to see where these shows go to and who watches them, and if this is helping you, right? It's good. We can see the people that get to watch us, but I want to see who's engaged with us, and is this information helping you? Are these lunchtime lives something that is beneficial, that we should keep going? We've got a timeline for them, and they hopefully will, when we get done with them, people will either looking for more or they're saying it didn't help at all, right? But yeah, let us know where you're coming in from. If you have anything to discuss with me today while we're doing this, we're talking about taking your retail leads and turning them into some kind of value with a broker or an agent, so that you can sell them, right? And maybe recoup a little bit of your marketing cost. Maybe you don't make that much money on it as a wholesale fee. And then how to make the transaction to where you can get paid, and call it whatever it needs to be called to stay within the guidelines of not being licensed. So you're not using the word commission. But, marketing fee, transaction fee, JV fee, whatever you want to call it, so that, you guys can work together. Now, that is building that relationship with a broker, right? Building that relationship with an agent. So a lot of this, I hear a lot of people saying, or I've heard in the past, I think it's some very old school thought processing, but, go out and find an agent and ask them to run comps for you and send you all the stuff off MLS. That's not going to last long, guys. Agents need to make money. That's their time. It's their efforts and energy and knowledge that you're asking. And if you're not bringing anything else to the table except for maybe closing the transaction, that's not going to last long, right? They're going to get burned out, and they don't want to work for free. So you need to learn the industry. You need to know your numbers. You need to know what comps are. You need to know what the property is really worth. You need to have some kind of evaluation based on a repair cost and or an idea of what's going on around it, right? Otherwise, you're wasting people's time. And that, I promise you, is not a good bridge to try to build and get known for, right? So, again, guys, looks like we've got a few people here watching. Ashley can put the link up. If you're interested in joining us, we're trying to go live and ask some questions. I love the feedback, the interaction, real time. That's what I'm looking for. The purpose for these shows is to get out some information and get this content out to you guys, and hopefully help you with maybe either brand new, or you're in the industry and you're trying to get better, or you're just trying to scale yourself and grow. But hopefully these lives are doing that for you. Again, anybody here, if you would, just leave me a comment. Let me know where you're coming in from, where you saw the feed at. We usually do YouTube, Facebook pages, and I think we end up turning this into a podcast for you guys too. So hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking about retail sales with your leads that do not work as a cash offer. They do not work as owner finance. They do not work as creative finance. So how can you monetize them? And that's working with agents, working with brokers, building that relationship with them to both provide value to each other. Hey, you know, I need some help over here with this, and I'm going to give you this lead in return. That's where a lot of this comes really helpful and building relationships with each other. So anybody in here that has any questions, try to slow down a little bit. I talk really fast, guys. Usually like get in here and we talk about what we're talking about, and next thing you know, it's shorter than the 30-minute window. So one thing I will bring up is wholesalingoutofthebox.com. We do our every 2-week meeting where we meet in downtown Norfolk. So if anybody's watching this on the replay and interested in joining those meetings, go to wholesalingoutofthebox.com, go to the events tab, and sign up for that event. We get in there and we discuss things for 2 hours, and it's a lot of information, and it's a really big help. Doesn't matter if you're new or experienced. Doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, we actually have one tomorrow, July 10th at 3 p.m. And I'm trying to pull it up to see what topic we'll be going over.
Cool.
Give me a second. But Shawn, I had to leave the room for a second. But did you go over what you need to take into consideration when you're making up your retail offer as a wholesaler? Things like extra closing costs and agent fees and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good bring up. So Ashley's referring to how you're structuring your number here, where when you want to make an offer to a specific seller in a retail situation, you've got to know the commissions that are involved, right? There's 3% for a broker, or let's say a selling agent, a listing agent, and then typically 4% for closing cost assistance. So let's just use a round number. We'll use $100,000 and say you need to add 10% to that because 6% is for both of the agents, and then 4% is closing cost assistance to most retail buyers, right? In today's market, most people want help with closing, bringing some money to the table. These are the kind of things that just today's market, right? So formulating that is how you come to that number. So you're going to add 10% to $100,000, which means that if that seller needs to net $100,000, you got to list it for 110. So those are the numbers that Ashley's referring to when we talk about backing into your number. And also we're talking about, what are your rehab budget numbers? Can that house be sold in its as is condition today and actually reach appraisal? That's a huge part of this, right? So knowing your numbers, knowing what the market is, pulling comps for like properties, knowing that area is selling for on complete fix up. Let's just say it's $150,000. You need to leave a little bit of room in there for somebody to come in and do some work. And of course, the seller is going to be able to pay off their mortgage and then make a little bit of money in order to now, if you use the 10% rule, it backs into it, pays it off. It says that they should net $100,000 roughly because you got, attorney's fees, closing costs, that kind of stuff. Recording, all those little fees that go into that stuff is what matters. But if you use 10%, that should get you covered, right? That should cover you to get close enough to the number to where any experienced agent or broker should be saying the same thing to you about what they feel the number is. But before you even get to that point of taking it to the broker or agent, you need to know that number yourself to even see if it's worth the time.
Yeah, well, because unless you're typically on wholesale contracts too, ours, for example, says we pay all the closing costs. And that's why people tend to want to go with wholesalers is for whatever reason, they don't want to deal with an agent. They don't want to pay closing costs. They want that number that's on their contract or on their paperwork of $100,000. That's what they want to walk away with. Yep. And typically with us, that's what happens. So you need to really know, that your wholesale fee is going to look a lot higher. It might look like, $20,000, but you're going to be paying $10,000 in agent commissions, closing costs, anything like that. So know that will typically come out of your wholesale fee. So if you do not account for it, you will be the one losing money, not the seller.
True.
So you need to keep that in mind.
Very true. Calculating numbers here, guys, is a massive piece of this business. Knowing that, in a typical wholesale transaction, when you tell the seller, just like Ashley said, you're going to pay all the closing costs, you need to formulate that in your number and be able to, typically it's passed on to the end buyer. But when you're dealing with a retail situation, it's a little bit different, right? But how can you, the wholesaler, recoup some of your money for your marketing expenses, and then have the agent make some profit? And of course, the broker, if the broker is going to be working with the agent. But whether you work with a broker or agent doesn't matter. Usually agents are the ones that are going to be out there more than brokers are. I specifically like to be direct with brokers. It doesn't really matter though. It's just building that relationship so that all you guys can work with each other and make money. And it's monetizing your leads, but not just monetary. Building a relationship and building that team is very, very important, right? Having all these little pieces of the pie put together to make the whole pie is what it's all about. So focusing on monetizing leads to build relationships with agents and brokers in order to ultimately help your seller and have a good name in the business to be able to do what you say you're going to do. And that's a really big part of this. So guys, a little bit short on the time here, but if it looks like you guys don't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and stop here today. Guys, remember again, Ashley was saying, go to wholesalingoutofthebox.com, go to our events tab, sign up for our meeting tomorrow, and let's get you guys over there and see what we can do to help you.
Yeah, right? The topic is multifamilies, where we're really going to deep dive and show you how we've calculated our multifamily deals, how we handle that. And it can be, we're still doing a hybrid in-person on Zoom sort of thing. So if you don't feel comfortable coming out to join us in person, that's totally fine. Yep. We'll have you on Zoom. You'll be in good company with Roy because he's in Israel and can't come to any of our in-person events, but we're trying to set it up so that he can kind of hang out in the back and listen in and participate as much as possible.
So guys, thanks again. Always thank you so much for watching here later, watching now. Leaving us comments. Love the comments. And if this is helpful or not, I think we'll try to put out a questionnaire for you guys to see if these Zooms or actually these live meetings, these lunchtime lives are helping you guys. And then of course, always remember, if you're interested in help, we do the live Zoom call every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. That is over in the Virginia Wholesale Real Estate Group. So if you go over on the Facebook page and join that group and answer the questions to join, then we will add you to that group. And there's a lot of information in there as well. People doing deals, people talking about what they're doing. We do a lot of sharing of information over there as well. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. As always, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Talk to you later.